Why they're called sixes? Hey! Lukey actually decided to come. Come on, take a seat. Okay, look, before we talk about that, let's just get a drink, okay? I would rather ease myself before getting into this, okay? Wait, you're not really the drinking type? Oh well. I guess I'm gonna be the only one. Whew. Nothing beats a good old-fashioned hard seltzer, am I right? Okay. Now we're dilly-dallying. But look, before we start off, all of my wrongdoings have their reasonings and you cannot fully blame me, okay? So no judging, okay? Or else I will stop. But with that out of the way, let's begin this, I guess. I was born to a single mother. She was only 15 around the time I was born, and she wasn't exactly ready to be a mother. Apparently, my dad was even less ready because his parents ended up sending him to a boarding school so he wouldn't have to be responsible for me and my mother. We were mostly supported by her parents, but otherwise, we were completely alone. I started discovering about my gift when I was around 5 years old. My great-grandmother had passed away. I felt confused when I walked into the viewing room of the funeral parlor and saw my gran sitting in the chair next to her own casket. At that point, I already grasped that death meant that you were gone forever. Yet, there she was. My confusion was overpowering my relief. Approaching her, she seemed different. There, but not quite the same. It's like when you're picturing something in your head, your eyes are open and you're clearly seeing that you're in the room, but something entirely different at the same time. She whispered in my ear, kissed my forehead, and disappeared. I walked up to my mom and asked her about the rose in Italy, as Gran had instructed. To this day, I still don't know what that means, but it was something important enough to make my mother fall into her knees. She held me, and it was the only time that I remember feeling like she truly did love me. As I grew, my gift became a little more apparent. I'd see people I wasn't supposed to see in everyday situations. A few would even notice me and follow me home. I didn't mind at all. None of them ever imposed or tried to harm me. They just wanted company until they figured out how to move on or found someone that was more interesting to follow around. My mom put no effort into stopping me, honestly, but still acted embarrassed when I did around other people, so no one took it serious. Not like my mom did, though. I think she honestly did fear me for a while, but... Oh! Dude! Man... There goes my drink for tonight. Oh well, back to the story, I guess. When I was about 8, things changed, honestly. And it was all due to my mom meeting a man named Mike. He was lanky, he smelled bad, he talked too loud. Still, he had a more stable job than my mom did, so she fell right into his lap. He wasn't horrible at first, just kind of greedy. My mom told him about my gift, and he came up with this master plan to use me as a pay pig. Posted it on the phone books as the world's youngest psychic. I don't know if he even believed my gift was real at first, but he learned otherwise eventually. And that is how I started talking to dead people, just when I was learning my multiplication. I mean, it was fun at first, when it wasn't the same old, tell my mom I love her bullshit, honestly. Then there was the case when I was 13, and I was seeing a family who believed the spirit of a 4-year-old girl was haunting their house. They claimed they didn't intend to make the girl leave. They just wanted to learn more about her so they could make her feel more comfortable in their home. When I walked into the house, there was definitely no little girl. There was, however, a gray, non-human entity crouched on their 17-year-old son's back. Its skin looked like paper, and its eyes were fully blood red. Human-like shape, but it was far from human. These non-humans were something I called sixes. Sixes are the souls that were never human. They're created out of pure sorrow and hatred. Their negative emotions embodied into an evil spiritual being. They can project their actions of a human spirit to confuse their host, making them think that they're just victims of a normal haunting. Human souls cannot hurt you unless they're extremely sinister, like Bundy sinister. Sixes, however, they can though, along with several other non-human entities. They suck every emotion out of you and radiate so much of their own sorrow and hatred until you either kill yourself or commit a crime so horrible that you'll most likely get the death penalty. They usually go after evil, corrupt, or just plain miserable people. They're usually called sixes because you only last 6 months before you lose it. Hey, so this part right here is gonna get a lot personal now, okay? So, I apologize in advance if this makes you feel something. But, think I started resenting my mother when I was 16. I found tired of the job. Everyone in town knew me. All the kids at school started calling me a freak. By this point, Mike started drinking away all the money that people had paid me to tell them that their grandmother loved them or that their dead child was in a better place. He became violent, angry. It hit my mother and she just took it for a while. Then she started to blame me. She started telling me things like, if you never had started talking to fucking Casper, maybe we wouldn't have been in this situation. Completely ignoring the fact that he was her boyfriend, not mine. Not long after that, he stopped hitting her. He started hitting me. Then she did too. Sorry. I know, I told you it was gonna get personal. I'm sorry. Only months later did I started seeing sixes roaming around whenever my parents were near. I watched this without a word, still allowing them to escort me to jobs. At first, the sixes would stay far away. I'd see them out the window, across the street. They creeped closer as time went on, very slowly. My curiosity heavily outweighed my fears. I had only ever seen them on people's backs. I became a bit more startled when they stood at our window. They knew I could see them, but they disregarded me. I said nothing to my mother the day I watched one crawl onto her back and latch his gaping teeth to mouth onto her shoulders. I wasn't surprised when I saw another one on Mike's back later that day. I thought about telling Mike and my mother, calling up a specialist to help get rid of the sixes that had only just begun to dream my sad excuse of poor family. Then, I thought about finally being alone. Never having to do the jobs that they told me to do. Never being subjected to a drunken lecture about my responsibilities to support the family. Never explaining my bruises away to teachers. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a drink, okay? You want something? Like water? So you really want me to tell you what I did, huh? Okay, bet. I'll tell you. I didn't tell him. I just sat back and enjoyed the show.